Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the film Babel. The stories take place in four different countries: Morocco, Japan, the United States, and Mexico. At first, the people in the film seem unrelated, but as the stories move on, we find out how their lives are actually connected. Babels is about cross-cultural communication. It shows how hard it can be for people from different backgrounds to understand each other. There are many problems in the film, like language barriers, fear, and cultural misunderstanding. These problems create pain and even danger. The film's title, Babel, comes from the story of the Tower of Babel, where people could no longer understand one another. This idea is central to the movie. In my paper, I will focus on five key points. The first one is how the film shows cultural stereotypes. Second, how language problems affect people's relationship. Third, how cultural conflict drives the story. And fourth, how misunderstanding causes sadness. And fifth, how the media represents different cultures. I will use cross-cultural theories like Hofstede's cultural dimensions to support my idea. I think the film reflects real problems we face in today's global world. It helps us think about what happens when people don't understand each other, and it asks us, how can we do better when we communicate across cultures?
Okay, let's start. Good morning. The film Babe shows how hard it is for people to understand each other. First, in Morocco, two boys play with a gun. They heard an American tourist, Susan. She and her husband, Richard, are stuck. They need to help, but don't speak the language. People try to help, but other thing is attract fear and confuse grow. Next, in America, Susan and Richard's children are with their Mexican nanny, Amela. Amela must go to Mexico for a family wedding. She takes the children on the way back. There is trouble at the US border. Amela is living in the desert with the children. She cares for them, but the border guards do not trust her. Her good heart is misunderstood. Then in Tokyo, we met Chiko. She is deaf. She feels very alone. She tried to connect with people, but cannot speak or hear easily. People often don't understand her. Her silence is a wall. These stories are connected. They show one big truth: understanding across language and culture is fragile. Small mistakes, big problems. Bubble shows us painful moments. The film is not just about different language, it's about the war between us, wars of fear, prejudice, and not listening. These wars cause pain, but there is hope. Bubble reminds us we all feel pain, love, and fear. To break down walls, we need to do more and listen more and understand each other and speak the language of kindness. Thank you.
I want to discuss a topic that is highly relevant in our globalized world. The complex relationship between language and culture is especially how language barriers can lead to cultural conflicts. Language is the bridge that can connect us, but when this bridge encounter obstacle, it can also become a spark that ignites misunderstandings and conflicts. Remember in the movie Babel, when the American couple was shot in Morocco, in the emergency situation, language barriers prevented them from effectively communicating with the locals, which not only exacerbate their panic but also lead to breakdown of trust. When the rescue personnel arrived, this lack of trust further is escalated into the cultural conflicts. From the perspective of communication accommodation theory, this lack of adept communication directly lead to a loss of trust, which in turn widened the social distance between the two parts and transformed what we originally a medical emergency into a cross-cultural conflict. This conflict is not accidental. It has profound theoretical basis. Social identity theory states that we often categorize ourselves into in-groups and other into out-groups to gain a sense of self-identification. This categorization can lead to prejudice and discrimination against out-group members. In medical incident, the U.S. authorities and media quickly labeled the event as a terrorist attack. This kind of sensationalist reporting not only intensified public panic but also reflected the double standards in media reporting. This double standard is a manifestation and based against ethnic management in media reporting. Example of such produced and misunderstanding are not rare in cross-cultural communication. In the movie Babel, the American couple was dissatisfied with the American police interrogation method, considering them unjust, while the American police saw it as a normal law enforcement procedure. This difference stemmed from the cultural backgrounds of the two countries, especially the different power distance orientation. In high power distance culture, people are more likely to accept that great authority, while in low power distance cultures, people place greater emphasis on transparency and equality. This cultural difference leads to misunderstanding and conflicts in the law enforcement process. However, we must not overlook the fact that the differences between language and cultures are not insurmountable. Through effective communication and understanding, we can resolve these conflicts. We need to recognize that language barriers are not just about language itself. They also conceal factors related to culture, society, and psychology. Only by truly understanding this factor can we effectively bridge language barriers and achieve humorous cross-cultural communication. In today's globalized world, cross-cultural communication has become an independent part of our life, whatever it is in international business, tourism, or cultural exchange. We are bound to encounter people from different cultural backgrounds. Therefore, we need to learn to respect and understand different culture and to face language barriers with an inclusive mindset. Only in this way only in this way can we truly achieve cultural integration and communication and avoid conflicts arising from language and cultural differences. Finally, I would like to conclude today's speech with a quote. Language is the vehicle of culture, and culture is the soul of language. Let us use language to build bridge of communication and use culture to fill in the gaps of misunderstanding, together creating a more humorous and inclusive world. Thank you.
So, hello, I'm Pan Chang. I will add the argument 456. After the speak, Liu Zhiyang said, who spoke the argument 1, 2, 3. And at first I will introduce the high context cultural value, nonverbal signals, and the surrounding atmosphere. While low context cultures prefer direct expression, this difference often lead to misunderstandings. In the movie, the Japanese girl Chico was confused by the way she communicated with the police, and her actions in the nightclub were also misinterpreted. And the way she caught up behind the glass was like the loneliness of high context culture in globalization. Silence is not only a difficulty in personal expression, but also reflects a major problem of cultural adaptation. The power gap can also bring about violence in communication. During the border interrogations in Amelia, the police questioned loudly in English, and the language became a toy that fueled the marginalized the disadvantaged. There are also base terms like illegal immigrants, which deepen discrimination against immigrant groups and making communication more difficult. The context brought by technology is actually an illusion. Richard was unhappy holding his mobile phone in mountainous area of Morocco. The cumbersome transfer made communication impossible, indicating that technology is hard to break through geographical and bureaucratical barriers. What Chico did through the video was misunderstanding, which reminds us that relying too much on technology can overlook cultural difference and prevent us from truly understanding each other.
So hello everyone. Today we are going to chat about this super interesting film called Bubble, made in 2006 by some famous actors. So this film is about how people from these cultures totally misunderstand each other. Sounds familiar, but here's the thing: while it tries to build bridge, some say it actually reforms some stereotypes. Okay, so let's begin. Okay. So for the cultural clash, the good and the particular, the first is how different cultures are shown. The movie paints Morocco and Mexico with what some critics call poverty porn. You know, all their roles, chores, and struggling people. Meanwhile, the American characters, they are living their best lives. One critic calls this out as typical negative third world imagery. But it's not totally one-sided. The American story is total jerk sometimes, and we really feel of Morgan, Edgers, and the Japanese dad who lost his life. Okay, so the movie kinda balance between calling out prejudice, which accidentally using some prejudice images itself tricky, right? Now let's geek out about the filmmaking. The cinematography, Chef Chris. From Morocco's dusty dirt deserts to Tokyo's flashy neon, you can tell where you are just by booking and get it. There's a club sense where everything goes silent because we are seeing through a deaf girl's ears, mind blown, right? Oh, and the acting is also worthy. That Nixon, Ned, and the Japanese team, their performance hit you right to feels. No wonder they got nominations. Okay, so the story structure, loved or hated. Here's where people get divided. The story jumps between four plots like a Happy Rabbit with the short critic Roger Ebert, how it all click emotionally, but others they are like what's up with the Japan story feels kind of rhythm. Personally, I think the message structure actually matches the films about our message connection. The big message as hearts bubble screams people we are all the same. The director said our pain and joy don't need translation. Beautiful, right? But some folks think it's a bit too. After school special with this gag. So what's cool? No clear meanings here. The movies makes you understand everyone said that's rare in films nowadays. So for the wrap up, so final thoughts, Bubble is like that ambitious friend who sometimes trips over their own fate is not perfect, but man does it make you think. In our TikTok world where we just control in 15 seconds clips, maybe we need more easy. Timely episodes like this, what do you guys think about? Okay, thank you.